Something has been going on within the Igbo community for some time now. I don't know exactly what to call that, but maybe a descriptive, maybe a description will give us a better idea of what is going on. Some young people, initially, they were just men, but I've seen some women engaging in this exercise. I would say that they are trying to, they presume, they assume, they believe that they are trying to unite all the Igbo people. The Igbo people, they believe, are scattered from the states called Edo, through Delta, through the southeast, which a lot of people refer to as today as called Igbo land, right into rivers, the state called Rivers, even some parts of the state called Cross Rivers. Some have swung north, entered Benue and Kogi, and said they discovered Igbos, and they are quite active. They make videos, they make speeches, and state that these people are part of the Igbo people. And I've also noticed that some people from these outlying groups have risen up to say that they were Igbo. In fact, one of them, one of the earliest people to engage in this, did the correct thing. He came to this channel, took a video I made about the Igbos and the Ikwere, even though he did not get my permission, but he made it to go viral. I think he should have spoken to me. He should have tried to get information from me and probably learn how to know who is Igbo and who is not Igbo from me. But, you know, our people are, as the late Ozemen and Sube Ayaka said, the Igbo man is always in a hurry. But that's good and fine. I think that what they are trying to do is not a bad thing. And us, middle-aged now, we have gotten to the middle level. Not young men again, not old men. Not young women, not old women, though. We are supposed to provide guidance when we see a good thing developing. So this morning it occurred to me to repeat something I had said repeatedly. Abavo, Ikwere, Ukwuani, and Nioma, southeast, that is that called Igbo land, Rivers, Igbo, Rivers Igbo, Cross River Igbo, Benue Igbo, Kogi Igbo are Igbo. This sentiment, this expression, this claim that they are Igbo is viral. But, and then, what then? So what? I went on to say, if you do not unify them with Omenana, if you do not bring all these groups back to the Igbo religion, a way of life that will really make them one and functional. All these efforts are just what I would call venting. Blood does not make nations. What makes nations is culture, religion. No two persons are united necessarily because they came from the same womb. Hasn't ever happened. What makes people one is culture. Biology does not make nations. What makes nations is culture. Biologically, everybody in the world is one. The genetic differences between you and your son or you and your daughter are more than the genetic differences between the English and the Igbo. But people don't know this. So, continually saying that these groups are Igbo without making them Igbo by bringing them under the Igbo culture and religion called Omenana is a waste of time. In another talk, I will talk about why I included functional. There are cultures and religions that are not functional. It's not my business to name them. I would rather talk about the culture and the religion that is functional, that is the Igbo culture and religion. It was so progressive, it was so democratic, it produced results to the extent that no less a person than Henry Kissinger looked at the Igbos in 1968 and said, call them westernized. He thought we are so developed, so advanced because they copied from the West. That's a subject for another day, but the issue was that the West copied from them. The West copied from the Igbos. But it's a subject for another day. We'll get into that on another occasion. A lot of people cannot be very polite this time around. Somebody came where I made this call that even if all these people came out of one womb, but you don't do anything, you don't do the only thing that can make them one people. You just vented. Well, he was not so rude. He said, how is Ukwuani Igbo? We have similar languages. Does that make us Igbo? Why don't you guys just respect us and leave us alone? We don't have any history with you guys, for God's sake. He was not very rude, even though he was 100% wrong. Okay, let's assume that having similar languages in a very traditional society like Nigeria, southern Nigeria especially, let's assume that similar languages does not suggest common origins. How is he sure that every Ukwuani man will agree that they and him have one origins? How is this gentleman sure that his own cousin would accept that he has one origins with him? He hasn't thought about that. And for God's sake, the Igbos, their culture is so against imperialism that they couldn't have imposed anything on anybody. Rather, people will impose things on them. So if you find anybody whose vernacular in Nigeria is Igbo, he's likely related. He's more than likely related to the group known today as the Igbo people, because the Igbo people did not conquer anybody. They did not impose anything on anybody. So if you and they speak the same language, most likely you came from the same source. But I will go further to say, who really would benefit more from if the Igbos and the Ukwuani are related? The Ukwuani will benefit more. In the world we live in today, to be a small nation is a disadvantage, and no condition is permanent. To be a small nation is a disadvantage. When I came into the world not so long ago, Japan was the second largest economy. China was nowhere near to Japan. But what is happening today? The two countries are not competing again because Japan is 129, China is 1 billion. But all these are lessons for the Igbo people. All these are lessons for the Igbo people. When the Igbo people were moving forward, I do not think, I know for a fact that nobody that spoke Igbo language as a vernacular would say he was not Igbo during the era of Michael Okpara, Nnamdi Azikiwe. But today, most of the news manufactured, a lot are manufactured, a lot are produced by anti-Semites. I had to hide this channel from one last week or earlier this week. The only problem he had in this world was that Igbos say they are Israelites. If Igbos are not Israelites, who are Israelites? And how did that become the problem of a Nigerian? So, they manufacture hate speech, they manufacture lies, and the Igbos themselves tell a lot of terrible stories about themselves. So a lot of people that have Igbo heritage, they feel that they will be safer denying their identity. But no condition is permanent. We are going to get it right. We are moving in the right direction by the grace of the Almighty Lord Chukwu. Thank you. Have a good rest of the week.